destruction every day, splitting at him, mocking him, and sometimes dropping leftover food into his dirty plate. To them, he was just a useless madman, shabby, smelling, and hopeless. But at night, when the city fell silent, the madman was no longer mad. He wiped off the debts, pulled out sharp knife from his sack, and went hunting. Hunting not for food, but for woman pie. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. His real name was Adekunle Dimeji. He was just an ordinary bricklayer struggling to survive. He had a wife and two children, but poverty turned his life upside down. His children often went to bed hungry, and his landlord threatened to throw him out. He went through several pains, agony, and immolation. He tried different things aside his bricklaying job, but none was profitable. Before poverty swallowed him, Kunle had been a bricklayer. His wife, Abike, left him when hunger and debt became his only companion. His children were taken by relatives because he could no longer feed them. Day after day, he wandered the streets looking for work, but none came. One evening, while sitting hopelessly at a bar, a black jeep parked outside. The door opened. Behold, it was Chief Toba, one of the richest men in the town, his longtime friend back in the university days. He wore white agbada that glittered like it was a woven with stars, and a gold wristwatch that could feed a whole family. Chief looked at Kunle, smiled, and said, "Do you want to be rich?" That question changed Kunle's life forever. Chief Toba told Kunle the secret of his wealth: money ritual. Chief Toba, he said calmly, "I know your pain. If you want money, I mean real money, I can show you, but you must be ready to sacrifice your heart and silence your conscience." Kunle, drunk and desperate, replied, "I am ready, just give me a chance." But Chief was too big to stay in his hands. He needed someone desperate enough to do the dirty work, someone nobody would suspect. Kunle was perfect. The deal was simple. Kunle would bring woman body parts and Chief would reward him with money. But how could he move freely without suspicious? Chief whispered the answer. Become invisible. Pretend to be what people fear but ignore. A madman. From that day, Kunle disappeared. His family thought he ran away, but in truth, he shaved his head, tore his clothes, rubbed ashes on his skin, and walked in barefoot. And he also had a small hidden hut at the edge of the forest, where he stored things nobody should ever see: bones, skulls, dry blood, and charms. Wealth began to flow into his hands. He bought land secretly, built a house in a faraway town in Kano, and sent money to reclaim his children. In months, he transformed. He bought cars, built a mansion, and dressed in fine clothes. To the town, he was suddenly a successful businessman. But beneath the gold wristwatch and flashy smile, his soul was stained with blood. But at the busy road junction, he remained the harmless madman, dancing and laughing at nothing. Kunle's first victim was a young motorcyclist at night who came to drop a passenger at where Kunle was standing with his sack bag, pretending to be a madman. Soon, Kunle became an expert. He targeted men and women, lonely travelers, even children sent on errand. Each body part, heart, eyes, finger had a price. He delivered them to chief, and in return, money poured into his pocket. Announced it at a TV station that every day one person mysteriously disappeared. A farmer today, a school child tomorrow, and sometimes even a trader vanishing without no trace. Nobody knew where they went. Nobody ever returned. But there was one figure everyone ignored, the madman at the basin junction. For years, Kunle lived this double life, madman by day, hunter by night. Kunle became the madman of Bodija. People laughed at him. Children threw stones. No one imagined that the same madman was the shadow behind the city missing person. At night, he watched lonely travelers, kidnap children, and drag victims into abandoned buildings. He cut them apart, wrapped the pieces in nylon, and carried them in his fleety sack. Just another man's load. The next morning, chief driver will collect the sack in exchange for cash, and the really continue. For months, Kunle disguised, but every evil has its own expiry date. One night, as Kunle dragged a young boy into a deserted warehouse, an old woman selling roasted corn noticed. She had always suspected the madman movement. This time, she followed quietly. What she saw nearly froze her blood. Kunle, the so-called madman, held the boy down with one hand and sharpened a knife with the others. She screamed. Neighbors rushed out. The boy escaped crying, but Kunle ran. The police took it seriously. They set up a trap, pretending not to notice him. For days, they watched as Kunle roamed the streets, picking dates and sleeping by the gutter. His downfall began when the son of a wealthy politician disappeared. The entire town went into chaos. Soldiers and police filled the streets. The boy's schoolmate swore the last person he saw him with was Kunle the madman. The news spread like wildfire. The madman is not mad. The police took it seriously. They set up a trap, pretending not to notice him. For days, they watched as Kunle roamed the streets, picking dates and sleeping by the gutter. Then one night, he fell straight into their net. He thought he was alone as he carried another victim into the shadow. But before he could raise his knife, freeze! Flashlight blinded his eyes. Police surrounded him. The victim screamed for help. Kunle tried to roll on the ground, laughing and shouting like a real madman. But when the police searched the sack, the truth spilled out, rotten body parts wrapped in nylon, knives and charms. Under interrogation, Kunle broke down. He confessed everything: how Chief Toba recruited him, how the body parts were delivered, and how many lives he has taken. The revelation shocked the whole state. Chief Toba was arrested. His mansion was raided. Inside, police found shrine, woman's skull and charms worth millions. For the first time, the mighty billionaire stood before the law. In court, the people gathered, filing every seat, every corridor, even climbing window just to watch. Kunle stood in ranks, his ear cut, his eyes soaking. No longer the madman, he was just a broken man, chained in handcuffs. But his eyes showed fear. The judge's voice thundered. You used your wealth for evil. You deceived. You killed. You destroy families. For this, you shall face justice. Both Kunle and Chief were sentenced to life imprisonment. The crowd outside cheered, shouting, "Never again will a wolf wear the skin of a sheep."